And it seems we are back once again. I want to show you various ways of which you can show me mastery of material. And at this point, I'm hoping to turn on closed captioning so that you should be able to see what I'm saying at the bottom of the screen. And then maybe later on, I'll learn how to correct mistakes that have been made. So at this point, we've asked you to learn lots of vocabulary words, including nouns. I've had various ways for you to submit your mastery of that and to demonstrate your ability to review. We've had things such as online quizzing, Quizlet activities, think pair share even. I've even had you draw things or witness others. So this time I want to give you a chance to either demonstrate mastery by shouting out the answers as I say the words, or maybe in the future you do that. Maybe you record yourself saying the words, and that is a demonstration of practice of review. Maybe you also create a different format and then you share it with me in the class and we can figure it out. I hope to timestamp this so that for those of you who are using this as a review tool, you can then in the comments click and forward through things that you want. So I'm just going to go through these a little bit at a time. So atrium, cubiculum, culina. Did you get those? Did you get that atrium means atrium or atrium if we're pronouncing it correctly? And that cubiculum means bedroom or room. And culina means kitchen. Maybe one of the ways you review your vocabulary is to listen, as I've just said, to record yourself, as I've said, or try to find words that are similar in English. So we have atriums in some of our buildings. We call them atriums, and it's basically a room that allows light in from the ceiling, just like it is in classical Rome. When you look at cubiculum, does it look similar to maybe a cubicle, a cube, or a square, which is what a room is? Just an isolated section. Culina, do you see the word culinary coming to mind? Meaning kitchen skills or cooking skills. These are just one of many ways you can check them out. And I've listed other nouns here as well. And that is one way that we did not really review this time, is categorizing words. Your book has the vocabulary words in alphabetical order. And that is not very good for learning. Very few people can remember in alphabetized systems. If that were the case, then we would just say, read the dictionary, you'll know words. But the dictionary is assigned alphabetically so that we can very easily access the information and quickly. And so it's really not a great way of learning. Maybe categorizing a way is you copy down all of the vocabulary words and cut them up like flashcards, and then you mix them into different categories. And a way you could demonstrate your mastery that for me is rather than just put it on a piece of paper and submit it as a document, maybe what you can do is you capture yourself, video record yourself working with the material. Maybe you create your own short story, and it might be challenging for people to write down their own short story, but it might also be great fun if you just engage in live action. For example, we could mix up Latin and English, and we could say, I was entering into the Yanawa of the house. And as soon as I saw the canis, I clamau very loudly because I was so perteritus. And luckily, there was a poeta who was singing a song, and his song was about a little red toga. And I don't know why, but it calmed down the dog, and he no longer latra at me. Now, you might call that silly, but that actually activates parts of the brain that we don't always use. And if you can come up with other creative ways and designs, please, by all means, let's explore them, because our goal is for everyone to achieve success. A different way of looking at it, I've also categorized this one as verbs because I was showing you that different categories work, is look for pictures. Now, I use the Google app search, which gives me access to things that are not copyrighted, and that's really something that we've been emphasizing quite a bit, is to make sure that we're not plagiarizing, we're not abusing copyrights, and that we're doing things correctly. In other parts of this course, I will definitely be using things that we can use through fair use, and I'll document all of that properly, so you know how to document your sources and cite things correctly, and don't group things. So anyway, if we take pictures and we put them side by side, and again, you could do this with a parent, and you could just have a parent sign off and say, the way that my child showed some mastery of vocabulary is that the child or my student taught me something. And so you could use this to teach your parents or a friend or a neighbor, if that so works, some Latin. So here, I'm just going to show you this picture and acquire it. And you can see that in that very first one, and if you can see my mouse hovering over this, acquire it, this is where the basketball player is looking for, because acquire it means look for, like inquire, is looking for someone to whom can receive a pass of the ball. And here we have a picture of a person carrying, because portat means carry, and if something can be carried, it's portable. And if we want to carry something of value into a place, we say that it is important, that it needs to be carried in. And if we need to carry things across regions, we call that action transportation, because we're carrying things across. But you can see this person is carrying a child or a young person across a river or a lake. Here we have a baby that is sleeping, and as this baby sleeps, we recognize the word dormant, like dormitory for places where college students sleep, or dormant, which means that it is not active, it's almost like it's sleeping. And we can go into other words and so forth, but again, I just wanted to give you different ways that you can express it. Now, similarly, you could draw your pictures, and if you have that artistic ability, that would be great. And if you could take that drawing ability and of things, it doesn't necessarily have to be a comic or funny or even a storyline, just something that it shows a little bit of creativity for you. I've even seen people take lots of cards together and put them and flip them and show the word coming out as the action is happening in stick figures. And if we have some time throughout the lessons as we meet, I will attempt to try that. I used to be pretty good at it, but years have passed and other technologies have been invented and so forth. Reviewing parts of speech. I had various ways of asking you to do that. Again, similar to the vocabulary where you had to match things. I asked you to read the sections or review the notes that I'd given you, and then to jot them down yourselves, to explain it to a parent. But one thing you could do is, just like I've done here, is create your own slides presentation and put it in a way that you would present to me. And you would say, okay, I know parts of speech. I know that the subject is usually the first word in the sentence. And the subject is the nominative case. And the subject has endings based on the declension. And the declension sometimes doesn't matter because the first vocabulary form can be different with certain words. And that's true in every language. Every language has, the opening word can be a little different for the subject. And then we would turn over to the direct object. And the reminder here is that the direct object in English is in a different placement than the direct object is in a Latin sentence. Notice here the direct object is directly before the verb instead of after the verb. And so here we have the direct object, and it is known as being in the accusative case. Accusative, I meant to put that in bold, and if I have time, I'll redo this video and bolden that. The accusative case, and we know that the M is what signifies that accusative case, the letter M. And we could probably remember that the way we remember he is the nominative pronoun, but him is the accusative pronoun because the M is the accusative or direct object form. And then we have the verb or the action word. Now, I haven't included the linking verb. That could be something that maybe you could express to me. The linking verb can be challenging to some, but in English and Latin, they're pretty much the same. They follow the same pattern. But here, the action word is the last word of the sentence. And again, reminder, why? Because the Romans it was expensive for the writing material, and they didn't have the punctuations we have today. And so they just condensed the writing. And so to know when a sentence had ended or a thought had concluded, they would put the verb, and then we could move on. And note that the verb has different endings. It can end in O, S, or T. If it ends in O, then the subject must be I or ego. We do this in English with the verb be. We don't say I be, you be, or he be. We say I am because I is the subject and it agrees with the verb. We say you are because you, and my to is missing here. You saw it earlier. And rekitas, ending in S, meaning the subject is you or to. So we say I am, you are, and then we say he, she, or it, or any noun, any singular noun, and then we say the verb. And in this case, it's holds. So we say I am, you are, she, he, it is. So I am cooking, you are reciting a verse, the merchant is holding money. I then wanted to show you another way of looking at the form. Asked you to picture, label things, diagram things, asked you to read, asked you to take notes, asked you to check out my notes. One thing you can do is find a common video clip that allows for you to create your own creative licensed work, and then you can voice over it. This particular video I'm showing you is just a short, less than a minute video, and it has some music to it, but it doesn't have any words. So you could say, oh, and so we look at the Temple of Jupiter, and we can enter in from which gate, and we can notice certain elements of it. And you can slow this down if you like. But as you can see, you saw the archways, you saw the market center. You can see that the forum is a very awe-inspiring place. And then finally, we take it to clothing and dining because those are the final things that we had. And again, I used royalty-free pictures that can illustrate my points. And again, this is something you can do. You could create cutout models. You can create your own scenes. But here we have various groups. We have different togas and tunics. And then we have a Roman dining scene, as you can see, he's reclining. So I've tried to be as creative as I could in demonstrating this. I hope to become more creative for you and more, I don't want to say entertaining, but I want to make it so that this is engaging. And at the same time, you are gaining more than just Latin out of this. Because now that we're in this online environment where we are trying to engage and interact and to communicate, this is a great opportunity for us to learn how to venture out into the business world, to conduct our higher education, advanced learning in a way that, maybe we had always dreamt but hadn't really achieved. So I hope you enjoy this. And again, please give me your feedback in class. All right, let's